It is Friday, June 21st, 2024. This is another in-person edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by our friends over at Factor. We got your Factor question of the week coming up in mere moments. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. Producer Dan, I think intern Tommy's along for the ride as well. He's somewhere. He's definitely did some work on this show, so we'll give him some credit. What's up, man? We are almost midway through Floorball 3. I could just tell, I'm not going to give you any results or anything else. The action's been amazing.
Amazing.
And it's hot.
It's hot. It's been a grind, but that's what we sign up for. We come to the warehouse as part of it. The energy, though, as like hot as it's been, as humid as it's been, the energy has been great.
Is it also somebody's birthday in the warehouse? Because yesterday, Bill delivered a pair of ice cream cake to celebrate Kelsey's birthday.
I actually stopped it because people were disgusted by you eating on camera.
They were?
Yeah, that's what the comments were saying, Chris.
Well, but I wasn't sloppy about it. I know watching people eat is not great, but ice cream cake, I think, is a little different than like a steak.
Oh, so jealousy. Some jealousy through the camera.
Got it.
Maybe they
well, I
want some ice cream
apologize
cake.
for that. That's my fault.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right, we're going to look ahead to the weekend and certainly celebrate that. But first, let's take a look back at last night's historic game at Rickwood Field between the Giants and the Cardinals. Cardinals ended up winning the game. The game itself was secondary or tertiary, if you will, because there was so much happening. Obviously, with the passing of the legendary Willie Mays, who played in that ballpark in 1948, his son really set the tone at the beginning of the game.
Birmingham, I've been telling y'all that if there's any way on earth my father could come down here, that he would. Well, he's found another way. So you already stand to your feet. Let him hear you. He's listening. Make all the noise you can. Birmingham, I've been telling y'all that if there's any way on earth my father could come down here, that he would. Well, he's found another way. So you already stand to your feet. Let him hear you. He's listening. Make all the noise you can.
That's so touching. I mean, if you think about it, he just lost his pops this week, a few days ago, and to really take on a leadership role, I think, for the entire sports world says something about that family.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think put in that position, I don't know how I'd be able to get through it. So definitely showed a lot of heart right there. And I think everyone did a really good job of commemorating Willie. And most of the stories that you heard weren't about his baseball career. It was about how he was off the field, how he treated people, the advice he was able to dole out. I mean, you hear Barry Bonds and Ken Griffey Jr. talk about him and how he impacted their lives. I mean, it speaks. We always say people aren't really going to remember what you do on the field. They'll remember more how you are off the field. I feel like as good of a player, top 5 all time, Willie Mays was, his legacy is about how he was off the field.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Well, think about the memories we have. Like, we all want to create memories for our kids, and a lot of those have to deal with somebody that was able to leave an indelible mark on them.
Yeah.
And Willie Mays did that to millions and millions of people.
Millions.
That he never met.
Yes.
Think of the power of that statement.
Not only if you met him in person, but even for me who never saw him play.
Right.
The catch over the shoulder, everybody knows
Everybody knows it. And
it's an amazing catch. We've seen other people do it. We saw Jim Edmonds do it diving, but it ain't the Jim Edmonds catch. It's the Willie Mays catch. And it's going to be that forever. It's yeah, every kid does that in their backyard, dude. It's awesome.
How big of a night in general was it for baseball?
See, I thought this was cool. Like the other games, I'm not going to lie. I've told you this before. The Field of Dreams game, even the Little League Classic, I know people really love that. They don't really do it for me. This one, I thought it meant something. There's real deal history coming through that building. And I think we've come very far as a society, and it was not only a celebration of Willie Mays, but a celebration of that in baseball as well.
You know, I texted Logan Webb last night, who obviously is a regular on the Rose rotation. I just wanted to get his thoughts. And he said it was even better than I could have imagined.
Yeah, you could tell. It felt that way.
Yeah.
It came through on screen as well for us watching at home.
I thought that Fox did an outstanding job in covering it. I thought having Mr. Kendrick from the Negro League Museum was exceptionally important up there. I thought it was a wonderful teaching moment for a lot of our younger fans and even people that are just my age,
yes,
even, and have been a fan for generations. And baseball can do this, unlike other sports. You could never do this in the NFL because the game every Sunday is so important. I'm not saying that last night's game wasn't important, But you can do that when it's 1 of 162, and Fox can spin the clock back to 1954 and bring us a broadcast inning where you're like, oh, this is
pretty cool.
Josh, our oldest son, texted me because he didn't know if I was watching at the time. He texted me photos.
The way you always see the videos, and because of the frame rate of the video, you think people were like running funny back in the day, right? It was crazy to see like present day people who actually don't run like that. That's what they look like. So now in my mind, I'm like, oh, maybe I need to give a little bit more credit to the older guys.
And negatively, okay? There were separate leagues. It is so foreign to us in the world that we have grown up in, and a lot of you have grown up in. I think that Reggie Jackson, the Hall of Famer, hit so many poignant notes when he joined the Fox pregame show. And forgive us, this is about 90 seconds, but I think it's important to listen to.
Fortunately, I had a manager and I had players on the team that helped me get through it. But I wouldn't wish it on anybody. People said to me today, I spoke, and they said, you think you're a better person, you think you won when you played here in Concord. I said, I would never want to do it again. I walked into restaurants and they would point at me and said, can't eat here. I would go to a hotel and they said, can't stay here. We went to Charlie Finley's country club for a welcome home dinner, and they pointed me out with the N-word. He can't come in here. Finley marched the whole team out. Finally, they let me in there. He said, we're going to go to the diner and eat hamburgers. We'll go where we're wanted. Fortunately, I had a manager, Johnny McNamara, that if I couldn't eat, if I couldn't eat in the place, nobody would eat. We'd get food to travel. If I couldn't stay in a hotel, they'd drive to the next hotel and find a place where I could stay. Had it not been for Raleigh Fingers, Johnny McNamara, Dave Duncan, Joe and Sharon Rudy, I slept on their couch 3-4 nights a week for about a month and a half. Finally, they were threatened that they would burn our apartment complex down unless I got out. I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
There was even more, and it was chilling.
Yeah, I mean, it paints the picture. This happened. And you know what? Like, it's not an isolated story, unfortunately. No. I've had the great pleasure of getting to know Rod Carew and Tony Oliva, playing in the Twins organization. They were roommates together, coming through the minor leagues into the big leagues. And they would say all the time, like we'd go around with our girlfriends, we're white, and people did not like it. Did not like it one bit. I showed up to my first year of professional baseball in the Appalachian League. And we had a team meeting, and they said, hey, the Latino guys and the African-American guys, you should stay away from these areas when you're looking for a house to live in. And I had never, I come from California and LA, it's a melting pot.
Right.
I never experienced or thought anything like that was happening, in modern day times. And I got a wake up call real quick. So this, like I said, it's, you said chilling to hear, unfortunately not an isolated event. And I'm hoping and I'm happy. I think we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah. And we hear it, particularly over the last 4 or 5 years in society, is that there still is a significant amount of progress that needs to be made. And we understand that. And it's why evenings like last night are so important. It really is, because you need to hear the stories. If it can change some perspectives, lend perspective to a lot of people out there.
I will say that is why baseball is a beautiful game to me. Not only can you be from any nation, and we see it clearly through our game, it's a world game. You can be any height, any weight, and still have success at our game. It's a skill game, and it's a beautiful thing when it's done right.
Pretty unreal. Baseball. Sometimes we take our shots at you here. This was a very rewarding, meaningful evening to be shared last night. Let's get back to the games that we do play. Max Scherzer is expected to be on the mound, I believe, this weekend. Tomorrow. Okay, good. Good for the Texas Rangers when they play host to the Kansas City Royals. It's his first start this year. He's coming back from back surgery. Does he have enough to help the champs get back in this thing? Or are you worried that Texas is springing too many leaks?
People used to say this about Minnesota all the time. Can he pitch? Can he hit? That's kind of been their problem, right? Now, the starting pitching's actually been pretty good for them. Obviously, you welcome Max Scherzer back, and can he bring a spark to the entire team and roster and the clubhouse? Absolutely. But their problem has been, a lackadaisical offense, if you will. Guys that should be carrying the team haven't been pulling their weight. Although Wyatt Langford has looked better, 801 OPS in June, he's struggling as a rookie. Evan Carter on the IL, struggling as a second-year guy. I guess he's still a rookie. So right now it's Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, and Josh Smith, the only guys with an OPS plus over 100. So the offense has to get going. I think they can. I think they have the people there to do it. And if they find a spark in the offense, we've seen them. The bullpen hasn't been great for them, but they haven't cared about that in years past. They didn't care about it last year. They banged their way to a World Series title. So
yeah, but they did make some moves.
They made some moves, but there's still time. So I'll say this. I don't think Max Scherzer is like the solution, but he can be a spark for the entire team. And if the offense starts to click, we'll remember why they were champions last year.
We still have more than half the season to go, although we are fast approaching the halfway mark. So they're 8.5 behind Seattle in the division. They're 6.5 out of the wild card chase. But they've got, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams just between themselves and the Minnesota Twins, who are hanging on to the third and final wild card spot at this point. So there's a lot of teams they've got to jump over.
Yep.
And I'm not going to necessarily say they're better than, I do think they're better than Detroit. Houston, I think they're probably even with. Toronto, I like their talent better. Tampa, we'll discuss them momentarily. And Boston, I know you had them ranked as the third best team in the American League yesterday.
I said they were close. I think I said the Guardians, but let's talk about Boston.
Right, okay. So it was Rudy Tomjanovich who always said, never underestimate the heart of a champion. He, of course, was the head coach of the back-to-back champion Houston Rockets for the 2 years that MJ was out doing his baseball thing. It just doesn't feel right this year. They held on for dear life just to make the playoffs last season.
So there is like a glaring hole in what their offense is doing. They're getting attacked by the four-seamer, top of the zone. So collectively as a team, if you can make an adjustment, get back to hitting the fastball, just getting on time, whether that's overtraining with, crazy velo in the cage, just watching it, whatever it has to be, you make that adjustment, things can turn around quickly.
Is that fun, hitting against the
high velo, but I don't like that either. I would rather track a real ball coming. It's a different feeling, the heavier ball. It is.
I'm sure it is. All right. Obviously, we're on the road. A lot of you travel out there. You love to have your coffee. You have it in the hotel, and you're like, this sucks.
Yes.
Well, the only coffee maker that makes great travel coffee, it is called AeroPress, and now they've introduced a complete travel system. It's their newest innovation, the AeroPress Go Plus. It's the first product that makes great tasting coffee using a brewing system that was designed for life on the go. It is travel coffee revelation.
Yes.
You're a big-time coffee guy.
Yes, and I have an AeroPress, and I love it.
Okay, so what's the deal with it?
It's a French press that you can travel with, basically, and it fits together. Once you have it broken all down, which is very easy clean, it just fits together, so it's like it's maybe this big. But the components are inside the insulated cup that comes with it. This is the travel one. And it's a French press. You have the grinds, some water, easy. I really, really love it. And you're right, like the hotel coffee, usually burned, not great. You bring this thing, you're going to be golden, Chris.
AeroPress has almost no bitterness. It is almost velvety coffee. Like you drink it, it's almost like
if you've ever had a French press, it's delicious. This is what you're getting.
And we've got an incredible offer for our audience. On Go Plus, visit aeropress.com/today. That is AeroPress, AeroPress.com/today. Use that promo code today. You're going to save 20% off your order. Once again, aeropress.com/today. If you use that code today at checkout, you're going to save 20%. Time to say goodbye to crappy coffee. Yes to better adventures fueled by better coffee. We thank AeroPress for helping us out today. Remarkable finish between your Twins and the Rays. I decided to put this game on while I was calling a floor ball. I was like, let me check in on the Twins who are chasing my Guardians. They were down 6-2 in the ninth. Carlos Santana blasts one onto the grass out there in right center. I'm like, oh, it's 6-3. Then they get 2 on with 2 out. Jose Miranda is facing a 1-2 count against Pete Fairbanks, and he blasts one. So we get a tie game, and we get extra innings, and that's where the Rays took over. They put up a run. Jose Siri with Royce Lewis on second, steals the ball. Kelly Leak style is what they said on the broadcast, and then threw a dart at third and nailed him. Pete Fairbanks was trying to get the save. He didn't get that. He got the vulture win instead and gave us a great interview afterward.
Look, let's just say that I owe the Minnesota Twins visiting Cage a new IKEA stool.
A new IKEA stool.
Not bar stool height, like one of the mini ones that like kids use. Yeah, it's not non-existent anymore. But sometimes you got to get it all out to go out there and put up another zero.
Okay, but after that, you went back out there, which we don't normally see you do. What was that conversation like, and why did you go back out there?
Well, I was busy letting every bit of negative emotion out of my body in the cage. And I said, hey, you have to throw the next one. And I said, and I quote, so turn your sensors on. I blanked it, so I'll throw it. And that was that.
Kudos to Trisha Whitaker for asking the questions.
What did he do to it? He what did it?
He blanked it.
He blanked it. Okay.
I think it probably started with maybe an F.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. He does not lead the league in saves, but Fairbanks leads it in amazing post-game discussions.
Doesn't he?
He's really funny.
It's usually
great in the post-game.
Yeah.
I'm curious. The Rays are 5 back in the wild card as we sit right now, way back in the division. Does this feel like the year where they kind of clean house and not chase it?
I'm going back and forth about this Rays team because they're never really completely going for it, and they're never really completely selling out. At least it hasn't been that way, and they continue to be competitive using that model. So I don't think they sell. I don't think they do. They might look to move a piece here and there, but I don't think they're going to be Yandy Diaz, Randy Arozarena, Bilal all gone. I don't think we see that, although those guys, for the Rays are starting to make a little bit of cash, and usually that's when they do trade and try to get max value, but right now it's not max value.
No, I do think Yandy's the one guy. He's still sub at 700 OPS on the year, but he's 800 OPS in the month of June. So he started to turn around.
They could do that.
And he makes right around $10 million or something like that. I think he's got one more year left on his contract. Arozarena, I wouldn't touch him right now. I'm worried about his productivity.
I think if you're going to continue this, like, hey, we're going to be competitive, which the Rays kind of always are, I don't think you trade Yandy. I think you keep him because he can be one of your more productive vets. Maybe you bring up Junior Caminero and try to spark the club that way, and there's something that can be done. I don't think they go into full-blown sell mode, and I don't think they should.
I don't know. I think with so few sellers out there, you could sell.
Who are you selling? You said Yandy. Are you selling Bilal? He's got options for several
Eflin,
2 years after
the problem
this.
with Eflin is that his number goes through the roof next year. It's at $18 million, I believe, is what I saw. That's a problem. But with so little pitching going around, maybe somebody will do that.
People would take that in a heartbeat, dude. A proven star at the big league level making $18 million is not.
I know it's not ridiculous. Well, but it's through the roof.
Stop
I'm
fake
doing
news.
No, I'm doing the Tampa scale.
Oh, Tampa scale. Okay.
Right.
You teared it down. Okay. That's a TAR.
But I do think that this is the year if you want to try and convince. It's not good to do to your fan base, but at the same time, if you're trying to do what's best for your organization in a year where there's so few definitive sellers, that if you're teetering, should we go for it? Should we not?
Yeah, I mean, look, they could swap. That's what they'll do. They're not going to tear it down.
No, I'm not talking about tearing it down.
No.
I don't think
are they going to make a trade? Yeah.
I don't think they have enough guys that draw interest.
Rocco Baldelli versus Kevin Cash, huh? Just old mates. I think were they teammates as well, and then coach mates?
That's a good question. That one I don't know. I do know this, that today's episode is brought to you by Kershaw Beef. Yeah, Clayton Kershaw is bringing you Kershaw Beef. It's quality beef direct to you. 6 different box options like the All-Star Box, the Big League Box, which is a fan favorite. Big League Box is loaded fully of 100% American beef. Variety of great options. You feed your family, your friends, or just save it for yourself and don't tell anybody. The boxes don't just have steaks. Kershaw Beef boxes also include Italian sausage, meatballs, sliders, burgers, fajitas, stew meat, etc. Delivers fast so you don't have to wait long to throw it on the grill. I will tell you this.
Yes.
We opened our Kershaw Beef box last weekend. You've been traveling.
I would love some Kershaw beef.
You've been
I'm the
traveling.
beef man here. Everyone knows.
They don't
that.
want to just send you a box and then it doesn't get open for 12 days. That's not good.
Okay.
So opened it, made the bacon last weekend. Brady was like, Dad, you got to get more of this.
Damn, Dad.
Yeah, so it was good. Snag your box today at KershawBeef.com. Use that code JohnBoy for 15% off your order. That is KershawBeef.com, promo code JohnBoy. Kershaw Beef, no curveballs, just beef.
I have the answer about Rocco and Kevin.
Yeah.
They kept just missing each other. Rocco didn't play in 2005
Yeah, he
because
had that illness.
He was injured.
or
That's when
something.
Cash was on the Rays. And then Rocco went to the Red Sox in 2009, and Kevin Cash he was there in 2008,
Yep.
and then came back in 2010. So they just miss each other.
It's amazing. Shifts passing.
Who wins in a
tonight.
fight? I don't know. It's a pretty good fight.
Rocco?
Kevin Cash is dirty.
Oh, he is
He's
dirty.
dirty, yeah.
Okay. Shohei, first regular season meeting against his old squad. What's your interest level since the Freeway Series is at Dodger Stadium and not Angel Stadium?
Pretty low, I think.
Like 1 to 10, is it a 5?
I mean, seeing Shohei always puts like a few points on the board for me, but like as far as the series go, I don't know. It is aesthetically pleasing. I like they call it the Freeway Series. I like all that stuff, but as far as like a competitive standpoint, no, I'm not like super into
We have
it.
intruders.
I'm not like super into
We have
it.
intruders. Ah, this is adorable.
Trying to heat him up a little bit.
Is that what it is?
It's 111. I made a wish, and look what happened.
Hey,
I got
McAfee,
kissed.
that comes with sleeves, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the Soto jersey?
Yeah, you like it?
I don't think there's a camera. Yeah,
Hey,
there
don't you
go.
owe Dan
There's the
Rourke
camera.
a Soto jersey?
I gave it to him.
You gave it? Oh, so you've got a favorite host now, don't you?
It's in the bag. Like,
Yes.
Oh, here. Throw that over here.
I brought it. Of course
that.
I brought it.
Look at that. Oh, wait. Smells like a Mets jersey.
Oh, what does that mean?
Sorry.
Oh, because it's Juan Soto.
Hey, my bad. My bad. My bad. That's
Yankee
my
fans
fault.
are down bad right now, by the way.
I'm curious about watching it.
Why? Give me a reason.
Well, first of all, I picked Shohei in the Homer Derby this week.
He's been doing it. Him
Hey.
and Royce, we've been going back and forth.
Yeah, by the way, you've picked Royce 3 straight
Yeah,
weeks.
I just got
That's
notified
illegal.
that I couldn't do that, but I watched Jack Doyle do it every week.
Jack Doyle's skit is picking Salvador Perez.
But it's not against the rules.
So you got to pick Royce Lewis the rest of the year.
Okay. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
No, that's stupid. If you have to be a rule follower. Jack Doyle is
okay,
his own
fine.
man.
I'll switch next week.
Better. Shohei, I'm going to call it a 7. I'll be watching. I'll tune in a little bit tonight. I want to
That's
see it.
because everything's a 7 for you in baseball. You're so excited about it.
I mean, call it a 9. I'll make sure I see every Shohei
I'm just not
at
that
bat.
I'm just not that interested in it. I don't know. I mean,
I guess I'm curious, like our buddy Nate Steele, who's a huge Angels fan.
love Nate.
Yep.
Shout out Nate.
And I feel for the Angel fans out there. I guess the bigger question is how tough will this weekend be for Halos fans?
We don't got to bring that up.
Well, I'm curious. What
I
you
don't
think?
know. I think they're past that. I think they're looking towards the
Do you
future.
think
I
they're
think
past
they're-
it?
Yeah.
I
What
don't think
what
so.
is there to be about right now? Dude?
I think when you see your old girlfriend and she's moved in with the rich guy down the block.
Gosh, dude. There's been a lot of that going around sports lately.
Ah,
Listen, I did see this card though, which is crazy to think about. 2018, it was a Topps card signed by Albert Pujols,
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani. Mike tried to actually show that to you on the plane. They all homered in the same game in 2018. Thinking about those three playing together, never in the playoffs, and
well, one of them could still hit a homer tonight.
one of them, yeah.
None of them in Angel Red. John Boy Media and iHeart have teamed up. So what do we mean? We mean that 2 of your favorites, as far as John Boy Media shows, it can be found over at the Dan Patrick Show, in addition to where you already watch and listen. Wake and Jake, Jimmy's 3 Things. They have joined iHeart Podcast and Dan Patrick Show family. And the best part, they'll still continue to be the very same shows that you know and love. And if you can't tell, we're obviously very excited. I've known Dan Patrick for decades. He's an icon in the industry, and now he is opening his arms and bringing us in. So this is a big deal for our company. It's a big deal for the familiar fans of Wake and Jake and Jimmy's 3 Things, so you can continue to consume the content there, courtesy of Dan Patrick and his people over at iHeart Podcast. Awesome. Time for our factor question of the week. Once again, factormeals.com/baseball50. When you use that code, you're going to get half off your first box and 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Another good week for you people out there. You're crushing it. I love this question from Brett.
Okay.
Do you think home plate umpires would be able to call balls and strikes better if they knew what pitch was coming, i.e. Astros trash cans? I didn't like that part, but if you want to be a name caller, fine. With PitchCom now the norm, do you think giving the home plate umpire an earpiece to hear the pitch call would improve the zone accuracy? I love this question.
I think it would. We've talked about this somewhere, whether it's on a broadcast I did or maybe it was on Talking Baseball. We talked about it. I think 100% it would improve their accuracy. Being able to know, kind of understand, they have to do some research on the pitchers. Hey, this is how his sweeper moves. This is how his sinker moves, whatever it is. The only problem I have with it, Chris, is I don't think umpires would be good enough at hiding their tells. I think it'd be another way for the bench to relay, hey, like this guy's moving it this way on fastballs. He's moving this way on off speed. He's up, he's down, whatever it is. They're not used to doing that. So I think that would be a problem. Could they learn it? Could it be great? Sure. But who cares about this, because we're getting the automated ball and strike system.
We're getting closer to it.
We're getting it. It's inevitable.
Not next year.
So catchers, stop framing everything. Umpires just like stand back there like this and whatever. It doesn't even matter anymore. This is crazy. Like, I don't think people understand the change that's coming to our game because of this.
Paul Sewald, who's the guest this week on the Rose Rotation, was very honest with this. He said the problem is, he said most of the umpires you can easily live with. Like, they're good at their job because we're talking about the bottom 5 to 10%. And he talked a lot about the eyesight. He's like, if you're 75 years old, you don't have the same eyesight, right, as when you're 16. It just goes. So for you, I like the point you made because I didn't think about it in terms of moving a certain way and then that giving an advantage to the hitting team. But what if they just adjusted their eyes? Is that something that could really happen, in your opinion?
What does that mean?
Where if they know that a ball's going to break a certain way.
Well, yeah. I mean, that they wouldn't be doing it on purpose. They would just be doing it. I mean, yeah, it would help. It would help. I don't think there's any question about that.
I want to talk to some umpires.
Okay.
I think. I don't want to talk. I think what we've learned this year is that we need to, instead of continue to bitch and moan about it, collectively figure out ways to make the group better. It is hard to do. I mean, we have the easy job. We just have to watch from behind the pitcher, and it ends up in this little box. We're like, oh, yeah, across the box. So,
obviously.
But let's help them get better at their jobs because it's not an easy job. Can you tell balls and strikes, do you think it would be an easy job?
If I got behind the plate?
Yeah.
No, it's not an easy job. Of course it's not, especially how fast guys are throwing and the pitches where they're moving and, you're getting boxed out by a catcher, whatever it is. But you need to give yourself the best chance possible. We've talked about this before. They need to pass a test, an eye test, before we put the guy behind the plate. There's plenty. There's 3 other positions on the field for umpires. It doesn't have to be behind the plate.
That's what Paul was saying. He said, let's reward the good ones by keeping them behind the plate, and the rest of you hang out with the fielders, and you go talk to a cool, good-looking third baseman from the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, we'll just be friends. We'll talk about fishing and where are you going to dinner after this, Manny's in Minnesota.
Hey, Brett, great steakhouse, by the way. Brett, thank you very much for the question. We'll have another one next week on our Factor Question of the Week. This was a fun week. I know it sucked we didn't have a show on Wednesday, but that was because of our travel schedule, and we got in too late to do one. It was great to do this in person. Yes. We'll have to do it again at some point, maybe the All-Star game, if not earlier.
You can always come over to my studio, man. Or likewise, invite me over one time.
Yeah, probably. My kids sleep till about 1 in the afternoon, so we're not going to.
What does that have to do with me, though? I don't know.
Well, I don't want you making a noise, and, I don't want Michelle fawning over you is basically what it comes down to. That's what happens.
End the show.
All right, let's get out of here. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our awesome intern, Tommy, as well, that is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. Thanks so much for tuning into Baseball Today, presented to you by Factor. Have a great weekend.